the finals of Mastermind India, we have a school teacher from Dehradun on the life and times of Gerald Durrell, a freelance journalist and stock market analyst from Delhi on the Indo-Pak War of 1971, a credit rating analyst from Delhi on the solar system, and a business executive from Calcutta on the Indian National Congress 1885 to 1914. Hello and welcome to the finals of Mastermind India. It's the first time that we'll be declaring a Mastermind champion here in India. Indeed, it's the very first time that this daunting quiz championship is being held outside Britain. It's a rather special occasion for which we'll be running the program for about 10 minutes more than its customary length of half an hour. For this challenging and momentous event, in keeping with the Mastermind tradition, we've sought out and come to this grand heritage setting, the Darbar Hall at the Samod Palace in Rajasthan. Situated just 40 kilometers from Jaipur, nestled in a hollow of the Aravalli Hills, this picturesque palace is about 400 years old, belonging to the descendants of Prithviraj Singh of Amer. Ascending in tiers and built around a series of courtyards, this residence of the Rawals of Samod is acknowledged as one of the most richly ornamented homes in Rajasthan. Each wall here speaks of history and craftsmanship, sumptuously illustrated with paintings, photographs, and fine frescoes, a matchless setting for a match of mind. And now I have great pleasure in introducing you to the guest of honor for this evening, Shabana Azmi, Member of Parliament, fearless actress, and an intrepid activist. An actress par excellence, she's won a record 4 National Film Awards, 3 of them in a row, and numerous international awards besides, the last of which was won for Deepa Mehta's film Fire at the Chicago Film Festival. Her presence here, we hope, will be an inspiration to the contenders. It will also be the role of Shabana Azmi as guest of honor to give away the trophy to the Mastermind winner. This trophy, made of sterling silver, has been designed by Vivek Sahni and bears the image of a tree of knowledge and life in the Vijayanagar tradition. The preambles and preliminaries are now at an end. The scene is set. The battle can begin. We'll start, as always, with our special subject round. And so may I now have our first finalist, please. Your name?
Doita Dotto.
Occupation?
School teacher.
What subject have you chosen for this final?
The life and works of Gerald Durrell.
Daita Datta, we'll start your set of questions on your chosen area, starting now. In which Indian town was Gerald Durrell born in 1925?
Jamshedpur.
Correct. What was the name of the dog who accompanied the Durrells from England to Corfu?
Roger.
Correct. What was the color of the Durrells' first villa in Corfu?
Strawberry pink.
Correct. Which of Gerald's childhood tutors collected birds and claimed to be an expert wrestler?
Kralevsky.
Correct. In Corfu, what breed of dog was Gerald's mother's pet named Dodo?
Dandy Dinmont.
Correct. The discovery of which type of spider's lair resulted in Gerald's meeting with Theodore?
Trapdoor spider.
Correct. At Corfu, after which Indian chief did he name the large gecko in his bedroom?
Geronimo.
Correct. In 1939, at which pet shop owned by Mr. Ronelli did he serve as an assistant?
Pass.
What was the name of the first book published by Durrell in 1953?
The Overloaded Ark.
Correct. In My Family and Other Animals, what was the name of Durrell's pet Scops owl?
Ulysses.
Correct. Durrell's first animal collecting expedition in 1947 was to which African country?
British Cameroon, sorry.
Cameroon is correct, I'll accept that. Which ruler in Cameroon helped Durrell in his zoo expeditions in 1949 and 1957?
The Fawn of Barfoot.
Correct. Which inhabitant of Madagascar was described by Gerald as Walt Disney's witch's black cat with a touch of E.T.?
The Eye.
Correct. In A Zoo in My Luggage, which dance did Gerald's wife Jackie teach the Fawn of Blafoot?
The Samba.
Correct. In A Zoo in My Luggage, what was the name given to the bush baby captured by Durrell?
Bug Eyes.
I'll accept that. In his travels in Argentina, in the Drunken Forest, which pair of mammals did Durrell describe as the terrible twins?
The Armadillos.
Correct. In the travels in Argentina, with which kind of weapon did the horsemen capture Riaz?
Lasso.
No, it's bolas. In the Drunken Forest, after which notorious fictional character did Durrell name the bare-faced ibis?
Pass.
What was the third and last of Durrell's books on his childhood in Corfu?
The Garden of the Gods.
Correct. The name of which of his books was inspired by his brother's work, Spirit of Place?
Fillets of Place.
Correct. Which work of his is dedicated to the playwright Noel Coward?
Rosie is my relative.
Correct. Which of his books is an account of his tour of New Zealand, Australia, and Malaya and was the first to be a TV series?
Two in the Bush.
Correct. In 1989, in which, I've started, so I'll finish. In 1989, in which British university was the Durrell Institute of Conservation and Ecology started?
University of Kent.
Is correct. And at the end of your allotted time, Daita Datta, you have scored 20 points with 2 passes. I'll give you the answers to the questions you've passed. In The Drunken Forest, the notorious fictional character after whom Durrell named the barefaced ibis was Dracula. And in 1939, the pet shop owned by Mr. Ronelli, in which he worked as an assistant, was the aquarium. Daita Datta, thank you very much. And now may I have our second finalist, please. Your name,
Devanshu Dotto,
occupation,
freelance journalist and stock market analyst,
your subject in this final.
the Indo-Pak War of 1971.
Devanshu Datta, we'll start 2 minutes of questions on your chosen area, starting now. In which Pakistani city was the hijacked Indian Airlines plane blown up on 30th January 1971?
Lahore,
Correct. In June 1971, which cabinet minister led the Indian delegation to the Soviet Union to lobby world opinion on the Bangladesh crisis?
Swaran Singh,
Correct. After Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's arrest in March 1971, who took over as the acting president of the provisional Bangladesh government?
Tajuddin Ahmed,
No, it's Syed Nazrul Islam. What name was given to the seat of the provisional government of Bangladesh formed in exile on 17th April 1971?
Mujib Nagar,
Correct. Who served as the prime minister of the provisional Bangladesh government?
Tajuddin Ahmed,
Correct. Which former officer of the Royal Indian Army Service Corps was appointed the commander-in-chief of the Bangladeshi Armed Forces in April 71?
Colonel Osmani,
Correct. Over which border town in 24 Parganas district of Bengal did 3 NAP pilots shoot down 3 Sabre aircraft of the Pakistan Air Force on 22nd November?
Boira,
Correct. Which division of the Indian Army was holding Longewala when it was attacked on the 4th and 5th of December?
4th,
No, it's the 12th Infantry. Which commander of the 300 Seahawk Squadron of the aircraft carrier Vikrant was awarded the Mahavir Chakra?
Pass,
Which town on the banks of the Munawar Wali Tawi, ceded to Pakistan at the Simla Agreement, was later renamed after the Pakistani officer who captured it?
Cham,
Correct. On which town, famous for its saris, were Indian paratroopers first airdropped on 11th December 1971?
Tangail,
Correct. On 4th December, which 2,500-ton Pakistani destroyer, along with its compatriot Shah Jahan, was sunk by the Indian Navy?
the Khyber,
Correct. After which parts of a bird's anatomy was the strategic salient in Jammu between the Chenab and the Chandar Bagher named?
Chicken Snake,
Correct. Which 16,000-strong wing of the Mukti Bahini blew up all bridges between Tangail and Dhaka and was named after its leader?
the Qadir Siddiqui group, the Baga Siddiqui
Correct.
group,
Which Pakistani captain's defense of Kanpur in the Meghalaya sector earned a special mention by General Manekshaw?
Ehsan Malik,
Correct. Which important Bangladeshi city was the first to be occupied by the helicopter-borne Indian troops?
Sylhet,
Correct. On the 3rd of December, which naval ship commanded by Lieutenant Commander Indra sank PNS Ghazi off the coast of Visakhapatnam?
Pass,
Which fighter bomber aircraft of the IAF based in Jaisalmer decimated Pakistani troops? I've started, so I'll finish. Which fighter bomber aircraft of the Indian Air Force based in Jaisalmer decimated Pakistani tanks and troops on 4th December in the Battle of Longewala?
the Hunters,
Yes, is correct. And Devanshu Datta, at the end of your opening round, you have scored 14 points and 2 passes. I'll give you the answers to the questions you passed. On the 3rd and 4th of December, the Indian naval ship commanded by Lieutenant Commander Inder Singh, which sank the PNS Ghazi of the coast of Visakhapatnam, was the INS Rajput. And the commander of the 300 Seahawk Squadron of the aircraft carrier Vikrant, who was awarded the Mahavir Chakra, is S.K. Gupta. Devanshu Datta, thank you very much. May I now call upon our 3rd finalist, please. Your name,
Sabyasachi Majumdar,
occupation,
credit rating analyst,
your subject for this final.
the solar system.
Sabyasachi Majumdar, we'll start your set of questions on your chosen area. Now, what is the name given to the string of light beads that appear on the horizon just before a solar eclipse?
Billy's beads,
Correct. Which discoverer of a planet coined the name asteroid?
Kepler,
No, it's William Herschel. In the solar system, what are the Perseids, Orionids, Draconids, and Geminids?
meteor showers,
Correct. The Mariner missions and the Viking missions were sent to study the topography of which planet?
Mars.
Correct. Expand the term EGA used to describe asteroid groups like Apollo.
Pass.
Between 1901 and 1940, the south tropical disturbances were noticed for the first time on which planet?
Jupiter.
Correct. On the moon, what specifically are Newton, Clavius, Bailey, and Wargentin?
Craters.
Correct. If sunspots are the darker areas, then what are the brighter areas on the sun's surface called?
Chromosphere.
No, it's faculae. Which planet was predicted by astrologers John Couch and Urban Le Verrier in 1846 and finally spotted by Johann Galle in the same year?
Neptune.
Correct. Which gas forms more than 95% of the Martian atmosphere?
Carbon dioxide.
Correct. Aphrodite Terra and Ishtar Terra are the two major land masses on which planet?
Venus.
Correct. Other than the Earth, which is the only solar object to have a predominantly nitrogen atmosphere?
Titan.
Correct. Comet tails are of two types. One is of ionized gas, or the plasma tail. Which is the other?
Pass.
Oberon, Titania, Ariel, Umbriel, and Miranda are the 5 chief satellites of which planet?
Uranus.
Correct. While working at the Lowell Observatory in Flagstaff, Arizona, who discovered the planet Pluto in 1930?
Clyde Tombaugh.
Correct. What is the name of the crater that defines the prime meridian on the surface of Mars?
Pass.
Between the years 1979 and 2080, which is the furthest known planet from the Sun?
Neptune.
Correct. In spectral analysis, what type of star is the Sun?
The yellow dwarf.
No, it's G2. The space probes Vega 1, Vega 2, Sakigake, Planet A, and Giotto were all launched to study which celestial object?
Comet Halley.
Correct. On the surface of which planet was the Caloris Basin first imaged by Mariner 10 in 1974?
Mercury.
Correct. All known comets are known to have emerged from which galactic cloud?
Oort cloud.
Correct. What is the name given to the smallest sunspots?
Pass.
Which is the brightest of the asteroids because of its high surface reflective power, or albedo?
Vesta.
Correct. What is the name? I've started, so I'll finish. What is the name of the 4,000 kilometer long and 120 kilometer wide canyon on the surface of Mars?
Pass.
It's Coprates. And at the end of your allotted time, on your special subject of the solar system, Sabyasachi Mazumdar, you have scored 16 points with 5 passes. I'll give you the answers to the questions you've passed. The name given to the smallest sunspots is Pause. The name of the crater that defines the prime meridian on the surface of Mars is Ario. The comet tails are of 2 types. One, we said, is ionized gas. The other is dust tails. And the expansion of the term EGA used to describe asteroid groups like Apollo is Earth-grazing asteroids. Sabyasachi Mazumdar, thank you very much. May I now call upon our 4th finalist, please. Your name,
Gautam Ghosh,
occupation,
Business Executive,
what subject have you chosen for this final?
the Indian National Congress 1885 to 1914.
Gautam Ghosh, we'll start your set of questions on your chosen subject starting now. At which educational institution in Bombay did the first Indian National Congress meet on 28 December 1885?
Sanskrit College, Gokuldas Sanskrit
I'll
Technical.
accept that. In 1885, which legal luminary moved the first ever resolution of the first Congress demanding Indian representation on a royal commission?
Subramani Iyer,
Correct. In the first manifesto of the party, which General Secretary referred to the Congress as forming the germ of a native parliament?
Alan Hume,
Correct. In 1885, which future president of the Congress in an article in the Aligarh Institute Gazette called the Congress movement seditious?
Syed Ahmad Khan,
Correct. To which extremist magazine did Aurobindo Ghosh contribute a series of articles called New Lamps for Old, attacking the moderate policies of the Congress?
Bande Matram,
No, it's Indu Prakash. Which British MP drafted the bill for the reform and expansion of the legislative councils at the 5th Congress session in 1889?
Bradlaugh,
Correct. Which civil servant and president of the Congress in 1899 had a brief stint as the Diwan of the princely state of Baroda?
R.C. Dutt,
Correct. Which former sheriff of Calcutta became the first non-Indian to preside over a Congress session in 1888?
George Yule,
Correct. Which journal first published in 1890 served as the mouthpiece of the British Committee of the Indian National Congress?
Pass,
In 1889, who became the first and lifelong chairman of the British Committee of the Indian National
Wedderburn.
Congress? Correct. Which Congress president described the Darbar of 1903 to proclaim Edward VII as Emperor of India a pompous pageant to a perishing people?
Lal Mohan Ghosh,
Correct. Which English language newspaper was launched by Bipin Chandra Pal and Sri Aurobindo in 1906 to advocate extremist ideals?
New India,
No, it's Bande Matram. Who is the compromise candidate of the moderates and extremists for the presidency of the party at the 1906 Calcutta
Dadabhai
Congress?
Naroji,
Correct. Which British leader was originally invited to preside over the 1911 Congress annual session at Calcutta?
Ramsay MacDonald.
Correct. In which daily newspaper started by her in August 1914 did Annie Besant popularize the slogan Home Rule?
Commonweal, which later became New India.
Correct. Gopal Krishna Gokhale first came into prominence as the additional joint secretary under which long-serving Parsi Congress General Secretary?
Dadabhai Nauroji.
No, it's D. Wacha. What were the 3 P's that characterized the policy of moderate congressmen?
Petition, pray and protest.
I'll accept that. At the 1907 session of the Congress, which philanthropist and social reformer refused to stand against the official candidate, Dr. Raj Bihari Ghosh? You can take that. Have to rush you?
Rajbihari Ghosh.
No. We asked who stood against him, who refused to stand against him, beg your pardon.
Oh, sorry.
It was Lala.
Lala Lajpat.
I'm afraid I can't give you points for that. Gautam Ghosh, at the end of your allotted time, you have 13 points with 1 pass. And I'll give you the answer to the question you passed. We asked, which journal first published in 1890 served as the mouthpiece of the British Committee of the Indian National Congress? The answer is India. Gautam Ghosh, thank you very much. That concludes the opening round in this final of Mastermind India, so let's turn to look at the comparative scores at this point of time. At this stage, in 4th place with 13 points is Gautam Ghosh. In 3rd place with 14 points is Devanshu Datta. In 2nd place with 16 points is Sabyasachi Majumdar. But leading the contest at the halfway stage is a school teacher from Dehradun with 20 points, Daita Datta. That sets the stage for the final round, the general knowledge round. We'll conduct that after a very short break. Do join us then. Welcome back to the finals of Mastermind India. We're ready to begin our general knowledge round, and as always, we'll move in ascending order of the scores achieved in the opening round, the one on specialized subjects. And so, may I first call upon Gautam Ghosh, please. In your opening round, in your specialized subject of the Indian National Congress from 1885 to 1914, you scored 13 points. And if you're ready, we'll begin your set of general knowledge questions starting now. On which set of poems by T.S. Eliot is the musical Cats based?
Pass.
Which empire was founded by the 5 brothers Kampana, Marappa, Mudappa, Harihara, and Bukka in 1346 AD?
Vijayanagar.
Correct. Which toxic gas was the first to be used in chemical warfare in World War I?
Chlorine.
Correct. In 1866, which newspaper sent Henry Stanley to find Dr. David Livingstone?
The Herald Tribune.
No, it's a New York Herald. Which species of large ape related to chimpanzees and gorillas is the largest fruit eater in the world?
The orangutan.
Correct. Which protein-rich legume, also known as lucerne in Europe, was the principal fodder of the Roman cavalry and chariot horses?
Pass.
In 1956, who won the Sahitya Academy Award for her collection of Punjabi poems to Nehre?
Amrita Pritam.
Correct. In 27 BC, which corps of royal bodyguards was created by Augustus Caesar?
The Praetorian Guards.
Correct. In the 1920s, which English actor and dramatist wrote the plays Private Lives and Hay Fever?
Noel Coward.
Correct. Which German chemist, along with Fritz Strassmann, discovered nuclear fission in 1939?
Messner.
No, it's Otto Hahn. What term derived from the French word for knighthood described the code of ethics for European knights between the 11th and 13th century?
Valor.
No, it's chivalry. What word describes the time of year when day and night are of equal length?
Equinox.
Correct. In which European city was the treaty of 8 communist European countries under a unified military command signed in 55?
Warsaw.
Correct. Who captained India in both the 1975 and 79 World Cup cricket tournaments?
Venkatraghavan.
Correct. What name was given by Charles Jenks to the architectural style pioneered by American architect Michael Graves in the early 1980s?
Pass.
Which popular sport, first codified in 1845 by Alexander Cartwright Jr., had its roots in the British game of rounders?
Baseball.
Correct. In Greek mythology, which fire-breathing female monster resembled a lion in the forepart, a goat in the middle, and a dragon from behind?
The Satyr.
No, it's the Chimera. In which country would you find the Great Sandy Desert and the Great Victoria Desert?
Australia.
Correct. The mount of which god is the peacock Paravani?
Kartik.
Correct. What name is usually given to rising currents of relatively warm air? I've started, so I'll finish. What name is usually given to rising currents of relatively warm air on which gliders and birds soar?
Convection current.
No, it's thermals. Gautam Ghosh, at the end of your allotted time on your set of general knowledge questions, you have scored 25 points with 3 passes. I'll give you the answers to the questions you passed. We asked what name was given by Charles Yanks to the architectural style pioneered by the American architect Michael Graves in the early 1980s. The answer is postmodernism. The protein-rich legume, also known as lucerne in Europe, which was the principal fodder of the Roman cavalry and chariot forces, is alfalfa. And the set of poems by T.S. Eliot on which the musical Cats is based is Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats. Gautam Ghosh, thank you very much. And now may I have our next contender, please. Devanshu Datta, in your opening round, your subject was the Indo-Pak War of 1971, in which you scored 14 points. And if you're ready, we'll begin your set of general knowledge questions starting now. Whose first published works were Rape of Lucrece and Venus and Adonis?
Alexander Pope.
No, it's William Shakespeare. In zoology, what exactly is the marsupium that characterizes marsupial mammals?
It's a pouch.
Correct. The annexation of which state by the United States in 1845 sparked off the US-Mexican War of 1846?
Texas.
Correct. What name is given to the salted roe of sturgeon eaten as a delicacy?
Kaver.
Correct. Which Sanskrit treatise was the subject of the first printed book in the world?
Pass.
The founder of Hohenstaufen's dynasty, which 12th century ruler added the title of holy to the name of the Roman emperor?
Charlemagne.
No, it's Frederick I, so Barbarossa. Named after a Swedish physicist, which unit of length is equal to 10 raised to the power of minus 10?
Angstrom.
Correct. Between 1964 and 1984, which marksman represented India in shooting in 6 consecutive Olympic Games?
Karni Singh.
No, it's Randhir Singh. In the United States, what is the natural phenomenon known as Old Faithful?
It's a geyser.
Correct. The leaf of which tree is depicted on the Canadian national flag?
The maple.
Correct. Which Australian woman player emulated Maureen Connolly's feat by winning the tennis Grand Slam in 1970?
Margaret Court.
Correct. Which tributary of the Indus is formed by the Chandra and the Bhaga?
The Chenab.
Correct. Between 1967 and 74, which European country was ruled by a military group called the Colonels?
Greece.
Correct. Which criminologist and power center was for 48 years the chief of the FBI?
Edgar Hoover.
Correct. In which of Dickens' novels does the hero work for a time as a schoolmaster at Duffy's Hall?
Nickleby. Nicholas Nickleby.
Correct. Of which European country are Madeira and the Azores a part?
Spain.
No, it's Portugal. In which painting technique is gum added to watercolors to produce an opaque effect?
Pass.
What term derived from the Greek word meaning man-like is used to describe apes and other higher primates?
Anthropoid.
Correct. Which trophy in honor of Jinnah is awarded to the winners of the National Cricket League in Pakistan?
The Quaid-e-Azam.
Correct. In which country does the city of Timbuktu lie?
Morocco.
No, it's Mali. Which 15th century Roman Catholic religious order began as a reform movement of the Franciscans, gets its name from the Italian word for pointed hoods? You can take that.
Pass.
And at the end of your allotted time, Devanshu Datta, you have scored 27 points with 3 passes. And I'll give you the answers to the questions you passed. The 15th century Roman Catholic religious order began as a reform movement of the Franciscans, which gets its name from the Italian word for pointed hoods is capuchins. The painting technique in which gum is added to watercolors to produce an opaque effect is gouache. And the Sanskrit treatise, which was the subject of the first printed book in the world, is the Hiraka, or the Diamond Sutra. Devanshu Datta, thank you very much. With 2 of our general knowledge rounds completed and 2 more to go to decide the fate of this round, we'll break from tradition and accommodate a very small break. Do join us after that. Welcome back to Mastermind India. The contest is very interestingly poised. We've completed 2 of our general knowledge rounds, but there are 2 more who have to take the spotlight in that black chair, and that will decide who's going to be the winner of this final of Mastermind India. So, may I have our 3rd contender, please? In your preliminary round, Sabyasachi Mazumdar, you scored 16 points on your chosen subject of the solar system. If you're ready, we'll start your set of general knowledge questions now. Which Roman poet wrote an epic about Aeneas, who escaped from Troy to found the Roman nation?
Virgil.
Correct. What is the distinctive flavor of the liqueur Cointreau?
Quinine.
No, it's orange. Where in India would you find a shrine to the Sufi saint Nand Rishi?
Kashmir.
Where
Pass,
exactly?
Pass.
What make of car was the 1906 Silver Ghost?
Rolls Royce.
Correct. Which imperial dynasty founded by John IV ruled Portugal between 1640 and 1910?
Braganzas.
Correct. Instituted by the French government in 1939, which coveted award is given to the best film at the Cannes Film Festival?
Caesar.
No, it's the Golden Palm, the Palme d'Or. Which premier American university, founded in 1701, is situated in New Haven, Connecticut?
Harvard.
No, it's Yale. Which Hindu god, the ultimate witness to all actions, is believed to have devoured his parents at birth?
Pass.
The words cathode, anode, ion, and electrode were all coined by which 19th century British scientist?
Pass.
What term is used to describe the formation of words whose sound imitates the sound of the noise or action described?
Pass.
The Anaimudi, at a height of 8,839 feet, is the culminating peak of which mountain range?
Nilgiris.
No, it's the Western Ghats. Nacre, the iridescent hard lining of some shells, is known by what other name?
Pass.
What name is given to the stretch of water which is connected by the Strait of Hormuz to the Gulf of Oman and the Arabian Sea?
Persian Gulf.
Correct. Cantaloupe, charentes, honeydew, and ogun are all varieties of which fruit?
Watermelons. Melons.
I'll accept that. On whose short story A Flight of Pigeons was Shashi Kapoor's production Junoon based?
Ruskin Bond.
Correct. What is the name of the Russian stringed instrument of the lute family?
Balalaika.
Correct. At the 1972 Munich Olympics, which U.S. swimmer won 7 gold medals and set 7 world
Mark
records?
Spitz.
Correct. The Marcel Kobilan Cup is awarded to the winner of which team event championship?
Pass.
In Gone with the Wind, what is the name of the O'Hara's plantation?
Pass.
Between 1987 and 1943, which leader of the Krishak Praja Party served as the chief minister of Bengal between 1937 and 1943?
Surabardi.
No, it's Fazlul Haq. What scientific term referring to the interface between the electronic and human world was coined by computer scientist and author Jaron Lanier?
Pass.
Which 13th century Italian scholastic philosopher system, I started so I'll finish, with 13th century Italian scholastic philosopher system uniting Christianity with Aristotelianism is known as Thomism?
Spinoza.
No, it's St. Thomas Aquinas. And at the end of your set of general knowledge questions, Sabyasachi Mazumdar, you have scored 24 points and 8 passes, and I'll quickly run over the answers to the questions you've passed. The scientific term referring to the interface between the electronic and human world, coined by Jaron Lanier, is virtual reality. In Gone with the Wind, the name of O'Hara's plantation is Tara. The Kobilian Cup is awarded for the winner of the Women's World Cup Table Tennis Championship. Nacre, the iridescent hard lining of some shells, is known as mother of pearl as well. The term used to describe the formation of words whose sound imitates the sound of the noise or action described as onomatopoeia. The words cathode, anode, ion, and electrode were all coined by the 19th century British scientist Michael Faraday. The Hindu god, the ultimate witness to all actions, who is believed to have devoured his parents at birth, is Agni. And the place in India where you would find a shrine to the Sufi saint Nand Rishi is Charar-e-Sharif. And at the end of your allotted time, I'll repeat your scores. It's 24 points and 8 passes. Sabyasachi Mazumdar, thank you very much. May I now call upon our fourth and final contender, please. Daita Datta, in your opening round with your specialist subject of the life and times of Gerald Durrell, you scored 20 points. Now the score you need to emulate is 27. If you're ready, we'll start your set of general knowledge questions now. What is the language native to north-central Spain?
Basque.
Correct. Which ancient Indian is regarded as the father of plastic surgery?
Shusruta.
Correct. Which American city is served by the O'Hare International Airport?
Chicago.
Correct. The workers have nothing to lose but their chains first appeared in which German pamphlet?
Communist Manifesto.
Correct. Who broke Bob Beeman's phenomenal 23-year-old world long jump record in 1991?
Mike Powell.
Is correct. At which international film festival is the Golden Lion awarded to the best film?
Venice.
Correct. Which species of snake found in northern South America is the largest living snake in the world?
Boa constrictor.
No, it's the anaconda. Which literary bear had friends called Piglet and Tigger?
Pooh.
Correct. The Japanese wine sake is made from the fermentation of which substance?
Rice.
Correct. The mathematical work of which 12th century mathematician astronomer was titled Leelavati after his daughter?
Pass.
In 1958, which Russian novelist declined the Nobel Prize for Literature?
Boris Pasternak.
Correct. What is the Spanish word for black?
Pass.
Which turn-of-the-century Bohemian artist was known for his lithographs of Parisian nightlife?
Toulouse-Lautrec.
Correct. What type of creature is Bombay duck?
Dried fish.
Correct. Which 20th century German philosopher developed existential phenomenology?
Jean-Paul Sartre.
No, it's Martin Heidegger. In the United States, what kind of geographic feature are the Florida Keys?
Islands.
Correct. Whom did India beat in the final to win its last Olympic hockey gold medal in 1980?
Pass.
Which Chinese statesman and founder of the Kuomintang party became president of the new Chinese Republic in 1912?
Sun Yat-sen.
Is correct. In Greek and Roman mythology, what name was given to any woman inspired with prophetic power by the god Apollo?
Pass.
Which Muslim League leader served as the finance minister of the interim government of India in 1946?
Liaquat Ali Khan.
Correct. After which 19th century astronomer and colonial administrator the capital of the Australian state of Queensland named?
Pass.
Which is the only Indian fish that migrates from the sea upriver to breed?
Salmon.
No, it's Hilsa. Which Hindu sect worshipping Shiva as the only deity was founded by Basava in the 12th century?
Alvars.
No, it's the Lingayat. Which geographical feature on the... I'll repeat that. Which geographical feature on the Zambia-Zimbabwe border is known to the locals as Mosi Ua Tunya, or the smoke that thunders?
Victoria Falls.
Is correct. And at the end of your allotted time, Daita Datta, you have scored 35 points with 5 passes. I'll give you the answer to the questions you passed. The 19th century British astronomer and colonial administrator, after whom the capital of the Australian state of Queensland is named, is Brisbane. In Greek and Roman mythology, the name given to the woman inspired, any woman inspired with prophetic power by the god Apollo, is Sibyl. India defeated Spain to win the final at its last Olympic victory in 1980. The Spanish word for black is negro, and a mathematical work of the 12th century mathematical astronomer, which is titled Lilavati, is by Bhaskaracharya, or Bhaskar II. Daita Datta, thank you very much. With that, we've completed quizzing on the first ever Mastermind India Championship in this country. But let's turn to look at the scores. In 4th place with 24 points is Sabyasachi Mazumdar. In 3rd place with 25 points is Gautam Ghosh. In 2nd place with 27 points is Devanshu Datta. But the winner of the title of Mastermind India with a score of 35 points is a school teacher from Dehradun, Daita Datta. That was a truly memorable victory by Daita Datta in these finals of Mastermind India. Our congratulations to her. And our congratulations also to the runners-up of this contest for having notched up memorable victories in all their preliminary rounds and a great showing in this final as well. And now it's a pleasure to give the rewards to the victor. I'm going to request our guest of honor, Shabana Azmi, to give away this splendid trophy to the winner of the title of Mastermind India.
It is a pleasure to be here at the Samod Palace for a different kind of darbar, the first ever finals of Mastermind India. In the ancient and glorious history of Rajasthan, with all its valor and its chivalry, it's interesting to see a new kind of battle, one that is fought solely with the wits and the intellect. When I was asked to give away the Mastermind India trophy, I was already prepared that there would be a formidable clash of the intellects. But the participants have been a revelation, both in the depth and the scope of their knowledge and the speed with which they gave their responses. I, as an actor, was particularly impressed because they did not even have the safety net of a retake. But most importantly, first, I was very pleased to learn that a woman had made it to the finals in what is traditionally a male-dominated sport. And now it gives me the greatest pleasure that this trophy goes to a woman. I prayed for her, let me confess. It's my proud pleasure. Great. I'm so pleased.
All that remains is to offer a very special thanks to Shabana Azmi for having joined us at this event and given away the trophy to the winner. Our thanks too to Daita Datta for having put up a virtuoso performance, and thanks are definitely due to all 48 of our Mastermind India contenders. Personally, it's been a real pleasure to conduct this mother of all quizzes with its legendary black chair, the single spotlight, and a host of Indian masterminds. But it's not yet time to bid goodbye for the season. There's one more Mastermind India left to come next week. On the eve of the new year, we've planned a celebrity special with some very unusual guests indeed, which promises to be fun, festive, light, and entertaining. That's next week. Do join us then. Till then, goodbye.